Why have men given up? This is something that I always toss over in my mind because when I drive to or from work, I like to play things in the background using the Brave browser, and I always like to go on YouTube and I like to type in things like men not approaching women. And women seem to always ask the same question over and over again. And it is my opinion that these women are playing stupid. Because the thing is that there are terabytes upon terabytes of free data answering that question. And women still are being, at this point, purposefully obtuse when asking a question that, as soon as they type it into YouTube, would have thousands of free videos answering that question. Dating is a race. And in this race, everybody got the invite, but some people got the invite through lightning fast email, while others got the email through snail mail. And the women are twisted enough to think that there is equality between the ones who got the lightning fast email and the ones who got snail mail. And 80% of the race was over by the time most men were able to even make it to the racetrack. So the ones that were allowed to pace themselves, those were what we deemed the Chads, the Tyrones, the Brads, the Jakes. These are the ones that got the invite through lightning fast email. And how it used to be is that the men that were in the bottom 90% of men, or even the bottom 80%, were able to foresee the trophy being the woman, being the intimacy that they could get with that woman, and for some men, a family. And they saw that woman and they said that this race is worth it, so I'm going to kick it into high gear. I'm going to work 100 times harder than Brad, who didn't even train, didn't even care to. Because Brad, Chad, Tyrone, and Jake, they already knew that no matter which one of them actually crossed the finish line first, they weren't going to care either way. They just actually felt like stretching their hamstrings that day and decided to go for a run. And they said, I could use some sustenance when they look at that woman. And the woman looks at the bottom 84% of men and they call us perverts. But the thing is that they call us perverts for objectifying them, but meanwhile, the ones they actually do it with are the ones that are actually objectifying them. It's a weird form of projection. And the thing is that it used to be that men would run the race anyway. I'm going to work 1,000 times harder. I want to get her attention, men would say. But then sometime around 2015, there were men who actually were running the race anyway. They were working about 500 times harder than the average Chad. And then they stopped and they said, why am I doing this? Wait a minute, is that trophy even in pristine gold condition? And they looked at that trophy a bit closer and they said, there's pieces of metal missing from this trophy. It's not solid gold either. This thing is like a brittle brass. It's not even real. The metal's all bent. There's a weird smell of rust coming off of it. This trophy is not worth what I was told it was worth. You know what? I'm dropping out of the race. And women were saying, what? How dare you drop out of the race? I'm pristine, knowing damn well that they're not. And the men started dropping out of the race piece by piece. And as contestant number 9,362 was passing the one guy that dropped out, so contestant number 10,037 stopped and looked at him and said, why'd you drop out of the race? And he said, bro, that trophy is fake. It's not gold. That thing isn't pristine. You look how much metal's missing. Look how many fingerprints are already on it. And then contestant 10,037 looked at the trophy and said, "Oh my God, I just ran a quarter of a race, not even knowing. You know what? I'm dropping out of the race too." And one by one, men were starting to drop out. They weren't running so hard anymore, which excited some of the other men, which are still part of the bottom 84% of men that women don't want. And they said, they said that they say to themselves, "You know what? Other people dropped out of the race. Giggity giggity. I'm going to be able to. This that means less competition for me. Let's keep running." But then as they got closer, they start to see things too. And when they got closer, they saw that the contestant that's still in the race is like a 2 or 3 out of 10. And they're noticing that 6s and 7s are dropping out of the race. And they're like, wait a minute, there's guys that are better off than me financially, who are taller than me, who are stronger than me, who are dropping out of this race. And then they said, this must not be worth it. They must know something I don't. So then contestant number 4,119 pulls over and says, "Why'd y'all drop out?" And then they learn the reason. And then they're like, "You know what? I'm out. I'm not doing this. I'm going home." And then more and more men start dropping out over and over again as they start seeing that trophy, that the illusion of purity was just that, an illusion. And then so they say, "You know what? I'm not doing this no more. Because even if I cross the finish line, the trophy is going to get ripped out of my hands anyway." In this case, that means that I can do all this work and I'm not even guaranteed loyalty from the woman. I can still lose what I've worked so hard to gain because she says, "I'm not happy. So I'm going to make you pay for my lack of happiness." Wait a minute, that doesn't sound fair, and that sure as hell does not sound equal. You know what? I'm dropping out of the race. And then by the thousands, other men get the same thought. It's like it's osmosis. You know, like a quantum osmosis. And people just drop out of the race by the thousands. And the woman goes, "What the heck? How come there's only like 100-something men here?" And like, oh my God, they figured out the truth. The truth. And they said, they're like, no, I gotta lie. I can't risk men finding out that I'm not really worth the investment. So I'm gonna say, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tap my chin a few times. I'm gonna put my finger up and go, I'm gonna keep gaslighting them. And that's exactly what women are doing. Can we just admit it, women? That is exactly what you are doing. That there's no such thing as loyalty. There's no such thing as love. At least not in the United States. Not in any infamous country. There's no such thing as a loyal woman. That a woman will be disloyal to the right guy and loyal to the wrong guy. Now, woe to the society that says that good is bad and bad is good. And women have said en masse that loyalty to a man that is average or maybe slightly beneath average, who by and large will treat you like a queen anyway, that's bad. Disloyalty is good. Being loyal to the player is good. And being loyal to the good guy is bad. So then men started thinking, why am I even running this race to begin with? Because, you know, the next year, another round of invites got put out. And they said some of the women got more honest. They said, look, your prize in this race is a silver trophy. And they said, silver? I was like, yeah, silver. And you're going to have to put forth just as much work as if you were trying to get a gold trophy. And they said, hell no. No. And the women are like, why not? I'm worth it because I said so. And the man said, that's not how value works. And so they quit. One by one, those men quit. And as a matter of fact, some of these women just wanted to start putting out some form of attention to these bottom 84% of men. They just want to give some form of attention. And then when some men bit on the bait, they would rip it away again. They would say, I'm so interested in a guy that will hold the door open for me, knowing darn well that doesn't make them ready to it doesn't make them tingle and ready to mingle downstairs. You know it doesn't. So, but then they'll keep lying anyway. So the guy will keep holding the door open because in a guy's mind, he's a problem solver. You know what? Logically speaking, if you like something, I want to do more of that thing because I'm thinking old fashioned. I'm thinking, okay, if I pour masculinity, a kind, benevolent masculinity into a woman, she's going to pour benevolent femininity back into me. But what a good guy's doing is he's pouring everything into the woman, and she maybe, best case scenario, is putting little drops back and saying, now we're equal, knowing damn well that we're not equal. And see, this is what is has really gotten under the skin of men over time, and justifiably angry at women. That's how men have become. And now men are saying, we started trying to joke it off. I think some men, a rare small amount of men, started pleading on the internet, please just give me a chance. And the women made fun of him. We tried mocking it. We tried speaking directly. We tried everything under the sun to get women to see what it is that they were doing. Nonetheless, and alas, year after year went by. Year after goddamn year. And most women did not budge. The invites still kept on going. And they went out to Chad and Tyrone and Jake, the same men that emotionally screwed them over. Because you'll give them infinite chances, but you will scrutinize a guy who would have actually been good for you. And we continue to get it. So Chad and Tyrone, they got 5G internet, but but good guys are still working on 3G. So you claim that's still equal, knowing damn well that it's not. Because you enjoy the attention. You enjoy when guys are sending you these emails back, because guys had just gotten the dating form of email, and they're sending messages, and they're like, and you're enjoying it, knowing damn well you'll never give these guys a chance. You know you won't. You know you're gonna lead them on because you will use a guy for a foodie call. And then some of these guys go, F it, I'm out. And for years, women were still satisfied with this because at least it meant that their backup plans were staying put. They weren't getting any other woman. They were just working on their jobs just so that the women could come back, get married to them, pretend to be good girls, and then rip it away from them with divorce, because that's what they fantasize about doing when they're using a little something that goes in the dishwasher with AA batteries between their legs, and you go, alimony, ooh, I get all his money. But then the guy said, you know what? I'm not going to get married anymore. And the women are like, what? My backup plan's gone. Man, you're making this up. You know darn well that you can't resist a woman because, long story short, they're sexy. And they know that they are. They know that they're appealing to somebody. And then this went on for several years. And then years later, they're like, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. I'm making all this money. Why don't I just go overseas? And that was the sounding bell. That was the alarm bell, because as soon as men found out that they don't have to stay in their infamous country and tolerate the bull crap, that put the fear to the pit of their gut, because they know darn well that they have nothing to offer but a used slot and a bad attitude. And as soon as these other women from overseas gave an average man a taste of what foreign boo loving be like, oh man, the success stories started popping up by the dozens. And this was just, 2 years ago? So men in 2023 say, wait a minute, we can just get a passport and we can bounce. We don't have to marry these women that are guaranteed to screw us over. Oh man, that was the worst thing that could have happened. to women. And they try mocking it. Some of them are like, will you please stop this? And we're like, oh, hell no. We're not going to stop. See, the thing is, becoming passport kings, so to speak, becoming passport men was the only thing that signified the one thing that men were looking for. Hope. See, the thing is, before that, men had virtually nothing to live for, because we know that if we pursue money and stuff long enough, as soon as we win, we're not gonna be satisfied for long. We'll be satisfied we don't have to work, but what's that when you have to wander this earth alone? So then all we have to do is we will spend 30 grand going overseas between the ticket and the accommodations. We'll spend 10 to 20, 30 grand over there, so long as it means ripping it away from ethnic countries. So long as it means you're not getting that money, we'll save, we'll invest. See, now we have reasons to be more productive at work now. And it's all for the sake of getting away from the likes of you. Because you know you're evil. You know that you have turned aside after the devil. Yes, you have. And when I say you've turned aside after Satan, I'm saying that Satan translates to resistor. You will resist anything that's good for you objectively, and you will pursue the things that are bad for you because you just won't swallow your pride and admit that you effed up. And thus, being left with no other options, men have said, you know what? I'm not going to fight for a used good. In fact, good is kind of I don't know if you want to call it a misnomer. I think it's very misleading, if anything else. If nothing else, this thing is a used product. And it's so used, it's broken. The engine doesn't even start right. The spark plugs, all the sensors and stuff, all the things that came in the bells and whistles when this car was brand new, fresh out the factory, is gone or broken. Because Chad and Tyrone got a piece of it first. And now you're telling me that it runs exactly the same. No, it doesn't. You are ruined, and you know it. You're ruined. And you're trying to sell that you're not ruined, or that you've learned your lesson. No, you're not. No, you didn't. You didn't learn anything. But when enough men who look average, and I'm not talking about guys that you deem average, not by women's standards, when women hold the control over every dating market in every single country on the globe, because they choose who they will be intimate with. Doesn't matter if you have FMS laws or not. The women still do the choosing. You chose wrong, and now you're trying to convince everybody that you're still oppressed. I mean, there's a bunch of ideas and different side rants I will go down, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for this video. I might just make separate videos on whatever. But see, the thing is, the whole picture summed up is that men are done. And the only ones that are left over are the Tyrones you couldn't resist and the simpy lollipoppies. Which I shouldn't have said that word if I wanted monetization, but whatever. See, that's the thing. The guys are done. We now have a reason to keep on keeping on. We now know that if we invest our money right and we get our money together, that we can abandon this godforsaken country called America. And we can go over to Thailand, Philippines, and we can have a far higher probability of finding somebody. Unlike this country, which is full of trash. We're tired of the trash. We're tired of being told your water's clean, knowing darn well there's fluoride and mercury in it. That there's cleaner water overseas. There's cleaner air overseas. We're tired of being poisoned by billionaires and being told that there's nothing wrong. We're tired of being gaslit. We're looking for greener pastures now, and to some degree we found them. Colombia, Dominican Republic, South Africa, Kenya, and the list keeps growing and growing and growing. And we know darn well that there's a good chance that women there will have some kind of care about how much money we have. naturally. But at least they're honest about it. Meanwhile, all you do in infamous countries like Canada, Australia, UK, America, all you do is lie, lie, lie. And we're sick of it. We're sick of your lies. So that's all I really have to say for today. This was just me ranting on some things I was thinking about before work. Have a good one.